We're working on anything that has to do with pocket movements, footwork, things like that. Basically, you can do everything, you just can't throw.
Adam, you're facing a stretch where you're going to play 2 games in 8 days. I know you're not looking ahead. Is there a chance you could return for that Thursday night game?
I don't know. I mean, legitimately, reading all the stuff that they gave me and all the opinions we got the other day, it's just an unknown for us.
Any update on Cam Wake? We saw him doing some individual stuff out there.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how he felt. Him just seeing him back out there is a good thing for us. So I'll probably get with him either tonight or tomorrow. Probably more tomorrow, just because the day after, see how he felt, and then hopefully we'll know, by the end of the week how he feels and whether or not he can go.
And how about Bobby McCain?
Same thing.
Adam, not that it's huge in the grand scheme of things, but is there any reason or thought process behind moving practice an hour later today?
Yeah, we had some extended meeting time, so we moved some things around.
You reviewed the film from the last game. Can you tell me some of the things that Tunsil and James specifically did well that made you very pleased?
I think that they did a good job, one, of executing what we asked them to do. We had some things that we did a little different protection-wise. And then, Laramie was one-on-one quite a bit. And whether it didn't matter which guy he was going against, that's always, a tough ask of any player, of basically saying, hey, you're on an island all day and we need you to win. So he did that. And I thought Juwan did a good job. He had quite a few one-on-ones and did a good job getting hands on the defender and just stymieing him at the line to where, we were getting the ball out pretty quick.
How much do you think it will help Rocky get all the reps this week?
I think anytime that you can, really dial in the game plan and make some adjustments as the week goes on, for that guy, that always helps. He knows the offense really well, and guys are used to kind of the way that he operates, and he's extremely loud when he calls out plays. So at the line of scrimmage, it's hard to miss it.
Was getting Hakeem Spence from Detroit, did that start with Kosurik when he came in, or had you guys targeted him?
No, I think it started with Chris. I'm trying to remember the whole.
I'm just curious what the process was there leading up to getting him. If that was a guy, Chris came in and said, this guy's probably going to be available and you need to get him.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the actual steps were, because we talked to them early in the off season, and then it kind of was like a dead period to where we had the draft, free agency, all those type of things, and we didn't really have as many guys as we were looking for, and then kind of went back to those guys again, and then they were interested. They were already kind of in their program, off-season program, so we finally got it to a point to where we figured out what we were good with them and what they were good with, and that's how it ended up happening. It was a long, drawn-out process, it felt like.
Why did you want him?
Anytime that you can, help a D-line coach, especially get some of his guys in there that know how he operates and knows how he likes to do things, it benefits the entire team. And, we thought he was a really good player. We really felt like he was a great fit for us.
Just one more question on Ryan. There's been nothing in the last 48 hours to change your optimism long-term for him?
No. What are you asking me? You talking about from?
He'll be back this year and all that.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Did he have a setback in the last couple of days?
No.
Adam, back to Tunsil, how high of a level is he playing at in general?
It's pretty high. The confidence level is extremely high right now with him. I think he's shown it on tape. I think that Cincinnati game showed everybody else how valuable he is to us and what he can do. And when we lost him, that hurt us.
Adam, is the interior of the line, at least last Sunday, as good as you could have expected with the two major losses at that position?
Yeah, I think the guys did a good job. You know, they execute what we asked them to do and played physical, played long, you know, played through the whistle. It was good.
How's Swanson doing?
He's doing good.
I think so too, yeah.
The two players that you all have designated that can return, obviously we saw on the practice field for the first time today. Is your expectation that they'll be ready to go in November, the first time they're eligible? And what can they add? Hull in particular, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you take it, you just focus on the 1 week at a time. Just make sure those guys are good to go. You don't want to do anything crazy and throw them out there too early and they're not ready. I mean, they've been out for a while.
Frank Moore obviously came here with a well-established reputation. What about him has surprised
Who's
you?
that?
Frank Moore.
Yeah,
What about him has surprised you the most?
nothing. I mean, he's same guy I remember. You know, he's a old school warrior, man. I mean, the other day he gave us everything he had. I mean, he laid it all on the field, and you know, he went all the way as far as he could.
Matt Patricia referenced this today, and I think you said this before about your battles with him, that you guys sometimes get into this thought process of, what does he think, I think he thinks, I think he's going to call. Do you do that more with him than anybody else that you've battled over the years?
Probably, just because it feels like we've played each other a lot since 2013. So it's, I mean, it's always a tough matchup, just schematically. And then, you know, we both know each other's kind of what we've done in the past. And it's like somebody going to reach back to something we did before or something new. You know, it's just, there's a little bit of that going on.
Do you enjoy it any more so than any other week? Do you
Yeah,
like
I mean, anytime
going
you go
against him specifically?
Yeah, when you go against people that like you've known for a long time and you know that you're friends with, it's always a fun battle. You know, just the problem is he's had probably the bragging rights a little too much. So, but it's a challenge. You know, when you're dealing with somebody that's extremely smart and does a really good job and prepares, and you know is working extremely hard to get his group right. You know that you need to do a great job, and you have to make sure that you work as hard as you can to make sure your guys are prepared.
Was there a time where you feel like you got too caught up and you got too bogged down in trying to predict what you thought he was going to do or something like that?
No, I feel like a lot of times we rein ourselves in by the end of the week. You know, it might start out like that early, but by the end of the week, you get everything kind of tightened down, and players will let you know if they feel like you're going off the reservation a little bit.
Could you call his defense for a game?
No.
Wouldn't you? You're not familiar with it enough that.
I mean, that's the other side of the ball. So, I mean, it's a different, like the way that I look at things and the way that defensive guys will look at things. There is a little bit of difference when you have those conversations. Like even in our building, when I say, "Hey, this is what we're trying to do," they kind of sometimes can see it a little different.
What's the staple of his I'm sorry, Josh. What's the staple of his defense?
He's gonna do what he needs to do to win the game. So, I mean, it could be whatever he's shown. It could be new stuff. It could be something that they ran in 2008 in New England. I mean, it could be a lot of different things.
With someone that you battled as often as you've gone back and forth with Matt, without revealing state secrets, are you more likely to try something new or pull out something from a bag of tricks, throw a curveball in there than maybe you wouldn't with someone who's less familiar with what you do?
I feel like I've tried everything with him, so I don't know how much is. I think we're close to maxing out on that aspect.
With Rob, is there anything from Sunday that you saw that surprised you that you could build on, anything like that, or no?
No, I mean that's what I about expected. You know, I think there's a few things that we just need to make sure that we're all on the same page. But I mean, he's really. When I was with him before in Denver, he was ready to go. You know, by my last year there, so that would have been his third season when I left. He was going on his fourth season, so I mean, it was just a matter of time before he started playing.
We know how you handle Tannehill, but when you get into the backups with Brock, is it Brock's game no matter what, or do you evaluate it during the game as far as whether you might go to David if it's not going well?
No, I'm good where we're at right now. I know what Brock brings to the table. I know what his strengths are, what he likes to do. So it's, I'm real comfortable where we're at right now.
Adam, we saw Brock throw it away a few times to avoid a sack or avoid forcing a bad throw. That's something he's talked about since training camp, and he actually executes that. Does that come easy for him, or is that something that he's had to learn over the years?
It's probably something that he's developed over time. You know, it's hard to remember exactly if he's always been like that. I mean, there's a lot of practices and preseason games, so, I mean, you're talking about a lot of stuff that's probably been erased from my memory. But, I mean, he learned from the best guy that he could possibly learn from. So that guy, you know, Peyton never took a lot of sacks. And when you get to sit behind a guy like that for as long as he did, be in meetings every day, hear him talk through games afterwards, I mean, that's valuable.
Talk about way behind Peyton. There was a lot of times that where he could have got frustrated during that time. Do you remember having conversations with him about that?
No, he never worried about it. He just kept working. You know, he knew what the deal was, you know, and he knew any year could be the year because, you know, I know there was my last 2 years in Denver. I mean, both seasons when they end, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with like what he was going to do, if he was done, if he was coming back another year. So, you know, we were all in the same boat. We were just, you know, we stayed present, and, you know, we knew what it was at the time, and then if something changed, then we adjust.
Yes, you left before he actually was able to, you know, start being a starter. Did anything change between that time and him?
He's been the same guy since I've known him. I mean, I think he was like 20 when we drafted him. So, I mean, he was young, but he's always been the same guy. He's always been a vocal guy. He's been a hard worker. You know, that was the thing that we loved about him was, you know, they always described him as a gym rat. You know, he had almost like that basketball, you know, work ethic where it was like he was always in the gym, and that's kind of what he was with football. He was always in the building. He was always doing something, whether it be in the weight room, be throwing, you know, studying tape. You know, he did a lot of things on his own.
And with O'Leary able to do a number of things very competently, has that expanded what you're able to do, what you're comfortable doing in your playbook?
I mean, we're always going to just keep trying to grow through the season, you know, kind of try to use the guys' strengths to our advantage and avoid any kind of, you know, something that they're not as good at and stay away from it. So I feel like he's done a good job with some of the things that we've asked him to do. There's a couple of things that, you know, he'd like to improve on, but, you know, I think that group's done a good job. All those guys are, you know, they all have strengths that we really like.
For you and Brock working together again, is this kind of like a sense of unfinished business, maybe? Getting to do something that you guys couldn't do?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun calling the game for him. You know, I mean, it's just something that we never really got to experience. I mean, there was a couple games where he got in there, it was like mop-up duty. You know, it wasn't for him because that was his only opportunity, you know. So, but the calls change, and it's so different when you're up and he's in there, and, you know, we're running the ball more than not, you know, more times than not. So this was good. I forget how many games he said. He told me, he was like, it's been 58 games I've heard you call, you know, so this will be the first one that's real.
All right, thanks, guys.